So we're still talking about dedicating the merit. This is prayer of dedicating the merit, specifically for the people who offered the meal, and in general for all the sentient beings who have offered to us and help us stay alive. So we've been going through the prayer. Here's the next installment of the verse. Okay, so this verse says, by the merit of this generosity, may the Naga kings, gods having faith in the Dharma, leaders who support religious freedom, benefactors, and others living in the area live long, enjoy good health and prosperity, and attain lasting happiness. So by the merit of this generosity, this is referring to the generosity of the people who offered us food or whatever requisites. Yeah, so we're dedicating, again, how their merit can ripen and how they can be benefited by all of this. Okay, so may the Naga kings, we'll go through each one of these individually. The Naga kings, Nagas are a kind of sentient being. I think they're in the animal realm. They're very intelligent. They have a snake-like body, and they tend to live in water, or near waters or swamps or places like this. Not everybody can see them. They're very tidy, very clean, and you want to have a good relationship with them. And when we have Nagarjuna, he's so called because he went to the land of the Nagas to redeem the perfection of wisdom sutras, so the story goes. So there may be Nagas on the property or nearby. And, I'm not somebody who always believes in these kinds of things, but I remember one time I was doing a retreat at one retreat center, and the bathroom was quite far away from where my cabin was. So I thought, here's a tree. It was the middle of the night. I'll just pee there. I peed there, and the next day I had some swollen gland. Something was like really swollen. And this is what they say happens if you dirty a place where there's Nagas and you displease the Nagas. And I went, interesting. Yeah. Because there was no reason for me to get that. So I kind of mentally apologized to the Naga. I did the mantra of the Buddha, who's the king with power over the Nagas, and apologized to them, and then the lump went away. Go figure. Okay, but it taught me a lesson, not to just pee anywhere because it's convenient, because it may be someplace where, the Nagas are living. Okay, so the Naga kings, gods having faith in the Dharma. So these are other living beings who live in the celestial realms, particularly here, the desire realm gods. It can also include the form realm gods because they can hear the teachings of the Buddha. But the desire realm gods, who often live around the property and so on, they like to often listen to the teachings of the Buddha. And there's one prayer that you do when you're about to give teachings in which you invite all the gods to come and listen. Yeah. And my Theravada friends say, because you notice sometimes when you take photographs, especially around here, you have these little white dots, They say that those are different gods who have come and live, come to the teachings or come to the area. And again, I'm not a big one on believing in these kind of things, but if you've worked in our forest for any period of time or walked through our forest, there's some very special energy in our forest. It's not just any forest. You agree? Yeah? So I think that's because there's these gods, other living beings, who are sharing the space with us. And When we moved here, we told them what we were doing and asked them, please live peacefully. When we before we broke ground for this building, do you remember we did offerings to some of the spirits who live on the place, to some of the different gods and different beings. So they say that's something good to do, rather than thinking, we're human beings, we rule it all, and everybody else just has to go along. You kind of take care of any other living beings, whether they're animals or, whether we can see them or not. Yeah. Because you've probably noticed when you watch our kitties, they see things that we don't see. Yeah. So I'm quite curious about what they see sometimes. But all of a sudden they'll go like this, and they will, like as if tracking somebody who's moving through space. So who knows? Okay, so the Nagas, the gods having faith in the Dharma, the leaders who support religious freedom. That part isn't an exact translation of the prayer. In the prayer, it said the king. Okay, but we don't have kings. So when I thought to update it, and I thought government officials, but I thought especially government officials who support religious freedom, because that's something incredibly important for us. Living in a multicultural society is that, we have freedom of religion to do our practices and so on that don't disturb anybody else, but without government surveillance or government comment, And so I thought it's really important to dedicate for the welfare of all those people who believe in religious freedom and religious diversity. Yeah, because there's so many countries in the world where you're not allowed to have diverse religions. It's illegal, or where you're persecuted for your religion. So I think rather than just say the king, we say, leaders who support religious freedom. Then benefactors, so that means all the people who help the Abbey with whatever. So we have people who give to us monetarily, people who come and work at the Abbey. We really need the volunteers who come and work, because as you see, we have nearly 300 acres of land and a few buildings to take care of. And then even people who, they've never even visited the Abbey, but they make prayers for us, they make donations, they really support what we're doing, and they're happy in their hearts when they hear about what we're doing, so we dedicate for all those people. And then others living in the area, so for our neighbors. Yeah. So this one is very interesting, because we live in a very conservative part of the country. Yeah, we're 45 minutes away from where the Aryan nation used to be. Yeah, so, and yet we participate in our community. We're on the board of the Youth Emergency Services for Penderay County when they did a walk against child abuse. It was child abuse, wasn't it? Then we went in and we participated in the walk. So we try and join in things where we can join in. And we've had a really wonderful relationship with people in our community, even though we may have very different political ideas. Yeah, but on a human level, when it comes to kindness and consideration and so on, we've had a very good relationship with these people. And so I think it's suitable and proper and respectful that we also dedicate for their welfare. Because again, we share the area with them. It's not like we can say, this is ours, and no, we share the town, we share the air, we share everything with them. And so to dedicate for their benefit. I don't have in my mind a specific border, I'll only dedicate for you up to here, but, not past. But you just think the broad area of people. Okay, others living in the area. So may they enjoy, may they have good health. Yeah, so that's something everybody wants. May they be free of illnesses and injuries. Yeah, so may they live long lives again. And implicit in wishing somebody to have a long life is to have a long life where you could create virtue. Because having a long life, if you don't create virtue, isn't really worth very much. So when we wish people long life in our mind, we're also thinking a long life to create virtue. Okay, then good health, prosperity. So, especially material prosperity is important to, people who we share the land with and share the country with. So may they be materially prosperous. May they have mental satisfaction, even though they may not have, because nobody ever has as much material wealth as they would like. But, may they have mental satisfaction. May they feel content with their lives and good about their lives. Okay? And may they attain lasting happiness. So that's the happiness of full awakening. And so implicit in this is, may we benefit them in return for their kindness. May we benefit them as much as we can in this life. And then in future lives, by the power of our practice that we've done in this life, which we're able to do because of their kindness and their support, may we in future lives meet them and be able to also lead them on the path and teach them the Dharma. Okay? So it's creating a karmic link with these people, whether we're bodhisattvas or not, to be able to create this link so that as we progress through the path and stages, we're able to benefit more and more people. And people, we have this karma connection with them, and they'll come, Because if we don't dedicate for the benefit of people, we may gain a lot of different realizations, but nobody's interested in hearing teachings from us, because we never from our side made a karmic connection with them, So that's why they say that even bodhisattvas, if you harm a bodhisattva, they still dedicate for you, and they dedicate to be able to teach you the Dharma and benefit you in future lives. So due to this virtue, may all beings complete the collections of merit and wisdom. May they attain the two Buddha bodies resulting from merit and wisdom. So this is a verse from Nagarjuna's Precious Garland, one of his dedication verses. It's a very, very famous verse. You hear it a lot in when we dedicate the merit. Okay, so what it's talking about is there's parallels between the method aspect of the path, and there's parallels between the basis, the path, and the result. Okay, so there's parallels on the method aspect and parallels on the wisdom aspect. Okay, so it says if you're making a chart, and at the chart, on the basis, you have the two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth. Then the path, under conventional truth, you have the method aspect of the path, which is renunciation and bodhicitta. Under the wisdom aspect, you have the wisdom realizing emptiness. Yeah, and so those two practices create merit and create wisdom. And then the principal results, not the sole results, but the principal results of these from practicing method, all the virtuous deeds based on renunciation and bodhicitta, then we attain the form body of the Buddha. So that could be either the emanation body, which is the form the Buddha appears in to communicate with us very gross beings, or the enjoyment body, the form a Buddha appears in the Pure Lands for the high-level bodhisattvas. And then from the ultimate truth, practicing to gain the wisdom, realizing emptiness, collecting wisdom, and then that leads to obtaining the truth bodies of a Buddha. And so the truth bodies, again, there's two. One is the wisdom truth body, which is the omniscient mind of the Buddha, and the other is the nature truth body, which is the emptiness and true cessations of a Buddha's mind. Okay, so he's drawing all these parallels here. If you explain this verse in full, you could include the whole path here. Yeah, so this is just a little synopsis. Okay, so due to this virtue, from them making offerings, and whatever virtue we create by doing our practices that they support, so may all beings, everybody completely, complete the collections of merit and wisdom based on method and wisdom, and may they attain the two Buddha bodies, the form body and the truth body, that result from merit and wisdom respectively. Okay, so that completes the dedication verses that we do after lunch for the people. And so next time we'll continue on with another aspect about food and eating.